Making sauerkraut is like preserving a moment. Salt, cabbage, thyme, and nature does the rest. No vinegar, no shortcuts, just patience. And that patience is starting to mean more to me lately. Because this isn't just about sauerkraut anymore, it's about legacy and what we pass on. Growing up, sauerkraut was the enemy. I didn't understand why anyone would willingly eat something so sour and smelly, but somewhere along the way I changed, or maybe I just started to see things differently. The same way I'm starting to see parenting. Fermentation is a slow transformation. It takes care, but not control. And that's kind of what becoming a dad feels like to me. I'm not in charge of who this little man's gonna grow up to be, but I can create the right environment to make sure that he becomes the best version of himself possible. If you told me as a kid that I'd one day be excited about making sauerkraut from scratch, I probably would have cried into my chicken nuggets. But here we are, things change, people ferment. Today I'm walking you through how to make sauerkraut using nothing but cabbage, salt, and a little patience. This is lacto-fermentation in its simplest and most satisfying form. You'll want about 2% salt by weight. That's roughly a tablespoon per 1 3/4 pound of cabbage. Massage it in until it starts to break down and release its own liquids. Unless you like sore arms, which I definitely do not. So here's a little shortcut I use that makes the process way easier. Just drop your salted cabbage into the stand mixer with a dough hook. Set it on the lowest speed and let it do the heavy lifting for you. In about 2 or 3 minutes, you'll have beautifully broken down cabbage and plenty of liquid to work with. This may be a little bit more or less depending on the cabbage that you have, so keep that in mind. Next, pack your kraut into a clean glass jar. You want it tight, no air pockets. I use a wooden muddler to press it down. Any flat utensil will do, but I like the ritual of the muddler. Now this part's important. Everything needs to stay below the brine line. I used a clean piece of plastic to help hold it down, and then added a glass fermentation weight on top. I used a fermentation seal to help release gases while it ferments, but the jar I started with was a little too big. So I transferred it into a smaller one that let the brine sit higher over the cabbage. Fermentation's about environment, and this was better fit, including the fact that I was able to remove that piece of plastic, which was not something I wanted to put in there in the first place, but figured it would help. Once the kraut sealed up, it's just a waiting game. A few days, a little burping, and suddenly you've got something sharp, tangy, and completely transformed. I can't believe that it's only been a week since I started this sauerkraut. I mean, look at that color. Isn't that beautiful? It's like this really rich purple. I don't even know that you're really going to get that all that well on camera, but it's beautiful. It's like a rich ruby purple cabbage, and it looks really delicious, and it smells really good. I haven't tried it yet, so this is going to be a live trial. When I was a kid, sauerkraut was used as a punishment. My parents knew that I hated it. They knew that it was the thing that I couldn't stand more than anything. And well, it was almost like the threat of having to eat sauerkraut was enough to get me to behave. So this really is my first try at making sauerkraut, and hoping that I have a better experience with it this time than I did as a kid. Mostly because I'm hoping to kind of turn that cycle off, and maybe my kid will enjoy fermented foods. I really like fermented foods, but this one I haven't really tried yet, so I'm just kind of hoping that it's delicious and that I have a better experience with it this time than previously. So, down the hatch. It's very tangy. It's definitely got a sour. Sour is definitely a flavor that I'm picking up from this. Kind of earthy, and I like it. Now you could stop there and just eat it straight from the jar, but I wanted to know what else I could do with it, so I started experimenting. First up, scrambled eggs. Yeah, I know it sounds weird, but hear me out. Sauerkraut and eggs might be the wake up call your taste buds didn't know they needed. All right, so we made scrambled eggs with some of that sauerkraut, and normally I would add a little bit of milk or water to the eggs to make them fluff up a little bit, but I wasn't sure how they were going to react to the juice in the sauerkraut, so I just mixed in the sauerkraut directly into the eggs and scrambled them, and we're going to find out how they are. They're still nice and hot too. Look at that. That's beautiful. You can't get that from DoorDash. Surprisingly, there's not a lot of sauerkraut flavor. It's not a lot of that brine, which is almost unfortunate because it would have added a nice saltiness to the flavor of the eggs, and I think that would have been a really great. I think that would have been a really great addition. So I think maybe next time I will add a little bit more sauerkraut and just a touch of water just to fluff them up a little before I cook them. But otherwise, I would say that these are really fantastic. They don't have that traditional sauerkrauty kind of gross. I guess in my world it would have been a gross flavor. You don't have that overwhelming flavor that I didn't like as a child, but I'm starting to become accustomed to, and I'm starting to really enjoy. Yeah, that's it. There it is. That's where it was. It needed more sauerkraut, and that bite had enough in it that it was obvious that it was going to be very sauerkraut flavored. Really liked that bite. I kind of want more sauerkraut on this. I might add a scoop to it, just because I'm sure that heating up the sauerkraut probably killed a lot of the probiotics. I think I'll have to add a little bit more to the top of this, or maybe I'll just do the scrambled eggs next time and put the eggs on top. I think that's probably the right choice. After the scrambled eggs, I figured if sauerkraut can bring that much life to breakfast, what else could it improve? And let me tell you, grilled cheese didn't stand a chance. I started with Dave's Killer seeded bread because texture matters. Then came the Tillamook mozzarella for that stretch, and a sharp white cheddar for that bite, and of course a generous layer of kraut in the middle. Golden buttery toast on the outside, molten cheese, and bright tangy kraut on the inside. It's nostalgic, but upgraded, like a childhood favorite that went to culinary school. And just look at it. The way the sauerkraut glows against that gooey cheese. It's not just delicious, it's beautiful. Food that looks like autumn and tastes like comfort.
But yeah, here we go. See how this goes. I definitely wouldn't put this in my top 10 favorite sandwiches or even grilled cheese sandwiches. I do like the tanginess that it offers, but maybe I should have used 2 slices of mozzarella instead of mozzarella and a sharp cheddar. It's a little bit too sharp for me. Yeah, that tanginess is there. It definitely shows up better in this than it does in the scrambled eggs. The scrambled eggs were fantastic. This is, not necessarily something I'd do again, but I mean, I'm gonna finish this, so can't be that bad.
I'll be honest, I snuck the sauerkraut into the meatloaf too. My wife didn't know, and that's probably the only reason she tried it. To build the meatloaf, I started with some crushed up saltines, a dash of Worcestershire, whatever this word is, and 2 eggs. And yeah, I always crack eggs into a separate bowl first. One bag egg can ruin the whole batch, and I've learned that lesson the hard way. Then I added black pepper, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, and some dried onion flakes for good measure. All the basics, and just enough sauerkraut to go unnoticed. Then came the fun part, mixing it by hand. Yes, I washed them first. I'm not a monster. I couldn't find my loaf pan, so I used a cake pan instead. I made sure to press it into all of the edges so that way it would cook nice and even. And that's when I almost got caught. My wife walked in asking what I was adding to the meatloaf. I didn't lie, I just omitted strategically. I baked it at 350 degrees for almost 30 minutes and then pulled it out for the most important step of all, the ketchup. Not just a topping, a transformation. Back into the oven it went so it would become the perfect sweet, savory glaze. And because I've officially lost my mind, here's to gut health. Straight shot of sauerkraut juice. Let's go.
All right, so this is a probiotic powerhouse. This is filled with tons of nutrients, and it is so good for you, and I am a big fan now. I didn't used to be, but I am now, so make sure that you stay tuned because I'm about to take a shot of sauerkraut juice. All right, so we poured off some of that delicious juice right there. We're gonna see if this is something that I would ever do again. This seems like something you might do on a bet. Definitely something you wouldn't think to do necessarily if you were of sound mind and body, or at least of sound mind. Sound body, definitely, because this thing is super good for you and incredibly healthy. I mean, it's a really pretty color. I love that color. And I am really, right now, I'm just kind of, I'm trying not to consume this yet because I'm kind of scared. I probably shouldn't smell it first, huh? Well, all right, here goes. It's actually kind of fruity. Once you can get past that initial sour kick and then that finishing sour kick at the back of your throat, you get some really nice flavors. This one could benefit from having some herbs added to it next time. I'm definitely going to try it with caraway and white cabbage because I think that would be delicious. I've also heard about a jalapeno pineapple sauerkraut, so we might have to try that. But I mean, honestly, it's just a little sour. It doesn't taste like anything gross or anything. It may be a little salty. I mean, I don't know that I would ever drink the juice of the sauerkraut again, but maybe if there's some left at the bottom, maybe I'll add it to a like a salad dressing or something at some point. But I mean, honestly, it's really very good, very flavorful.
And that's the beauty of it, right? Something I used to hate. Now it's part of the meals that I'll one day share with my own kid. And I used to think that tradition was about doing the same thing the same way every time, but now I'm starting to realize that it's much more important to remember to preserve those things and let them grow into something new. And who knows, maybe my son will absolutely love kraut from the very get-go, or he'll hate it and That'll be a story of its own. Hey, if you have any foods that you used to absolutely hate, but you've grown up to love them, make sure that you comment below. That way I can try it out and see what I think.